Brazil in 1, Jamaica in 2, USA 3, Canada 4, France 5, Great Britain 6, South Africa 7, Ghana in lane 8. This is the last act on what has been a brilliant penultimate night of the 2022 World Athletics Championships.
Can the U.S. win all of the sprint races? 1, 2, 4, 110 hurdles, and the 4x1.
To see them home. Great Britain coming home for the bronze ahead of Jamaica. A fabulous moment for them. And despite the fact that Bracey was coming, de Grasse held good. They had a brilliant changeover. A brilliant changeover from 2 to 3, the Canadians. Blake ran really well down that back straight. The Americans were under pressure. The Jamaicans must have had a couple of awful changeovers because they got great men in their lineup. And now Great Britain celebrate, backing up their silver from Doha. It feels like a little bit of an anticlimax tonight because the Americans were expecting to do the double. Their women delivered. But the American men did not bank on the fabulous teamwork by the Canadians.
Well, here we get a look at Christian Coleman coming out of the blocks. Nobody probably better to put on that first leg. But it was not a great changeover here from Christian Coleman to Noah Lyles. Lyles had to slow down just a little bit, but you know he's going to run great on that back straight. Let's see what this second exchange looks like. This is Elijah Hall. He's had a great season. We've been waiting for him to appear the last couple of seasons. University of Houston, Carl Lewis and Leroy Burrell prodigy. But Bracey had to slow down just a little bit, and it was just that little tiny gap that de Grasse got on Marvin Bracey, and Bracey just was not able to reel him in. And we've been waiting to see Andre de Grasse really run well, and we always see him in championship form. And here in the 4x100 meters, we saw his best at these championships.
And I have to say this again, Jerome Blake to Brendan Rodney round that second leg to third leg was an incredible changeover, and Rodney to de Grasse was pretty good as well. That was Reece Prescott on the left of picture, bringing Great Britain home ahead of the Jamaicans, who at this stage had a massive amount of ground to make up, despite the fact that they had Seville on that third leg. Oh, he even had the time and the composure to celebrate and make the most of that moment. I mean, he is a brilliant championship performer, de Grasse. Bronze in the 100 last year, then he stormed to the 200. He didn't start the 200 meters because he felt like he was way below his best, but he saved himself for the relay, and he had the final word at the end of the short sprint relay, and the Canadians could barely contain their joy. And again, that was a brilliant example of teamwork, outshining individual stars, and fantastic composure from de Grasse down the home straight.
I would have to call that an upset.
Yes, I would agree. I would agree. When you've got the likes of Coleman and Lyles and Bracey on the anchor leg, and there have been question marks over de Grasse in terms of his fitness and his form. Yes, that is a great result for the Canadians. As I said, gold for the North Americans, but nobody was expecting it to be your near neighbours, apart from them.
But another medal for Great Britain. They go to these World Championships and they always seem to come home with some hardware.
Yes, they'll be over the moon with that, they really will. Especially because they beat the Jamaicans. I'd love to, when we get the stats and the changeover splits, it'll be interesting to see where the Jamaicans lost ground, because my eye was drawn to the Canadians down the back straight with Blake. The Jamaicans were there or thereabouts on the first leg. Coleman had run really well to get the US into a great position at the beginning of the back straight, but as you said, it wasn't the sharpest changeover from Coleman to Lyles. And once Blake got into his running, the Canadians were dominating, and they were not to be denied.
Oh my God.
French have been disqualified for a changeover outside the box on the legs from 1 to 2. There are always casualties and there's always drama. That's why we love watching. Aaron Brown, Jerome Blake, Brendan Rodney, and that man Andre de Grasse with the shades. Injured this year, had COVID this year, and yet
What's
somehow...
up viewers, welcome back to the channel. So right here we are here with the men's 4x100 meter relay, and this was in Oregon back in 2022. Canada had delivered a great performance to win the men's 4x100 meter gold World Championships in Oregon, while the USA were clear pre-race favorites, having swept the podium in both the individual 100 and 200 meter competitions. The Canadians were relying on Andre de Grasse to lead them home after he had pulled out of the individual 200 meter competition earlier in the championships following a disappointing 100 meter campaign. But in a stunning turnaround, the Canadian team of Aaron Brown, Jerome Blake, Brandon Rundy and de Grasse blazed the victory in the world lead time of 37.48 seconds, with the USA coming home second at a time of 37.55 seconds and Great Britain winning bronze with a time of 37.83 seconds. Jamaica was fourth. While world 100 meter champion Wilfred Curley was missing from the team, many would have been forgiven for thinking the US were in for the title after their victories in both the sprint events in Eugene. But however, that was not the case. So as I said, great 4x100 meter relay, as I said, this was back in Oregon back in 2022. You know, at least came out, they did what they had to do, but you know, the Canadian team came out on top. Canadian team of Aaron Brown, Jerome Blake, Brendan Rudy and de Grasse, yeah, they came out on top, dominating the field. It was definitely a great moment in track and field. He said he was fully focused on delivering goal. I'm feeling good. I like our chances, de Grasse said. You know, so de Grasse had to deal with injuries and illness through COVID, because you know, so back in 2021 coming up in 2022, that was like the COVID era. Crazy, but as I said, great 4x100 meter relay. Canada dominates, so just a great moment and a great feeling for them. We all know USA was the favorite to win, but not all the while, you know, the USA's are gonna be winning. But we all know we have the World Championships coming up in September. You know, everybody's exciting for what's to come. Right now, I'm not gonna lie, we have a great team for the 4x1. Once we have Akeem Blake on the team, Oblique Civil, Kishane Thompson on the final leg, and you know, probably Ron Watson, we just might win gold, but definitely wanna see Kishane on the final leg, Oblique Civil on the second leg. You know, I feel like they should give Akeem Blake like the first leg, because he's very, very fast. But somehow he can't really keep that momentum, but he has a very, very fast start. So as I said, Canadian team, you know, win second place United States, Noah Lyons, Elijah Marvin and Christian Coleman. Third place Great Britain, you know, Zarnell Hodges. You know, great team. Jamaica team was Akeem Blake, Ewan Blake, Oblique Civil and Jelani Walker. That was the Jamaican team. As I said, we got fourth place.